everyone, it's Sharonda from Pay Or Waits, and today I'm going to be reviewing the Apple TV Plus documentary, Beastie Boys Story, which is now streaming on the Apple TV Plus platform. This documentary is directed by Spike Jonze, who also helps write alongside Mike D and Rock. And this documentary tells the story of the Beastie Boys. It's a personal and intimate story about the band, how they came to be, the ups and downs of really trying to find themselves in this industry, but also, too, most importantly, it showcases their 40-year friendship as well. And so this was actually one of the documentaries that was supposed to premiere at the South by Southwest 2020 Film Festival. I was super excited. I was intrigued because, you know, they were saying there was like construction that they were doing to really put on a great show. And I was like, guys, it's a documentary. Like, what are we doing all this for a documentary? However, after watching the documentary, they really put a new twist on how we see documentaries. Even though there might have been some done like this before, but for me, this was one of my first times watching a documentary, but also too feeling that I'm a part of a live performance. We have Rock and Mike D, who are basically in a live theater, narrating this story as it is happening on the screen behind them, as they show live footage, they show clips from pictures from back in the day as to how their band, the Beastie Boys, came to be. And so one of the things that I really enjoyed about this documentary, because for me, going into it, I knew about the Beastie Boys, mainly like, you gotta fight for your right to pod. You know, I don't want them to demonetize me. Let me keep it moving. But also too, Intergalactic. There are songs that I knew about the Beastie Boys, but I didn't necessarily know about the story of who the Beastie Boys were, kind of what they went through as a band, and, you know, what their experience was, you know, within this industry. And so the storytelling aspect of it, as we have Mike D and Ad Rock, they're so engaging to watch. They're so fun to watch. This is not just your typical documentary where they just tell you, okay, this is how we came to be. This is what happened in our earlier days. This is what happened once we got famous. This was our ups and downs. You know how they kind of go like through the motions of what happened to try to tell you the story, but they make it very interesting, very fun, very entertaining from the transitions that they have, the funny titles that they have. They have chapter titles on how they kind of navigate throughout the course of their life. And also too, there are some very interesting transitions, musical transitions. You'll know exactly what I'm talking about when you hear it, but that's what made it so fun to watch. This has a 2-hour runtime, and I didn't feel like I was sitting there for 2 hours. I was just like, wow, like, tell me more. Like, keep telling me about your life. And I like that they're so raw. They're so honest, open and honest about kind of their early beginnings. Kind of mistakes that they, you know, regret to this day, things that they wish they would have never done, and actually being able to acknowledge it while still telling the history of what happened. I found that very, very interesting. And I think that for a lot of people, if you don't have a lot of background on the Beastie Boys, I think that this is the perfect documentary to watch, not only because the actual members, R.I.P. MCA, Adam Yauch, and they do a moving tribute to those of you who don't know. Adam was one of the members of the Beastie Boys. However, he passed away from cancer. And so also too, kind of how they approach that subject matter, you can tell that it comes from a very deep and personal and emotional space. And you truly felt that. And also too, the way that they handled telling Adam's part of the story, I thought that it was handled very gracefully, very respectfully. I think that a lot of fans will definitely appreciate how they handle that, but also too, just appreciate the creativity of who the Beastie Boys were. They started at a really young age, and being open and honest and about how their persona was, how they first started versus to where they are now. And also to having self-reflection and being self-aware and understanding what they want their voices to be, what type of music they want to put out to the world. And also to giving props to the musical talents who influenced them to be who they are as artists today. I found it I was just like, wow, like, you know what, look at y'all giving them props. I see you. But I also learned a lot of things that I'd had no idea about who the Beastie Boys were. And I think even for those who are hardcore fans, I think that there would be a lot of things that would be to surprise people. I kind of call it like one of my friends who's a huge Beastie Boys fan, they were like, no, I didn't know that. I was just like, okay, I'm just making sure because, you know, I'm going into this like a little virgin. I don't really know what I'm supposed to like be shocked by. But one of the things that I will say is to hear the audience's reactions to the songs, to the stories that they tell, to these pivotal moments in their life. You can truly tell just from the reaction of the audience, the impact that the Beastie Boys had on so many people, on the industry. I just thought it was a very well done, well written, the way that they write the script for Ad Rock and for Mike D to tell this story, also too with Spike Jonze directing, making sure that the clips appear at the right time, making sure that they have the transitions, props, whatever they need to use. There's a lot of moving parts that you can tell go into this this type of documentary, but they make it seem so effortless, so seamless. And I think that's why I really enjoyed it, because it really stuck to the story of the Beastie Boys while really keeping this fresh and innovative way to tell the story, which is, you know, so telling to who the Beastie Boys were, always trying to push boundaries, always trying to think outside of the box, present things outside of the box. And I just thought that it was a very, very enjoyable documentary, very well done. And I think that everyone would really enjoy it. So I would definitely tell you guys to go check out Beastie Boys Story, which is streaming on the Apple TV Plus platform. Those are pretty much my thoughts on the documentary. I'm still really sad that I couldn't be at South by Southwest to see this live, because I felt like that would have been a whole experience for me. But yeah, those are pretty much my thoughts on the documentary. As always, my name is Sharana from Payroll Waits, and if you like what you saw today, make sure you hit the like button, hit subscribe, share this video with your friends, and make sure you hit that notification bell. And I love you guys 3000. I'll see you soon.